Red Bull's dominance continued in Jeddah, with the team finishing 1 and 2 on the podium without much challenge, and Verstappen easily gliding through the field to go from 15th to 2nd. It really looks like the Red Bulls are just racing each other. After finishing at 1st and 2nd at Jeddah, you would think the mood in the Red Bull paddock would have been ecstatic. However, this doesn't seem to be the case, as it looks like there are already cracks appearing in the Red Bull camp. Let's just say we all know that Max and Checo's relationship is more of acquaintances rather than full-on teammates or even friends. You wouldn't say it's at the level of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton yet. The pair had a number of incidents, though, in particular a very public dispute in Sao Paulo last year. Fast forward to Jeddah, and it looks like the previous season's spat may just be raising its ugly head again. Red Bull's weekend was not perfect by any means. The team looked to be utterly dominant until disaster struck, with Verstappen forced to start from 15th after being eliminated in Q2 following an unexpected driveshaft failure. Prior to his mechanical failure in qualifying, the 25-year-old was the clear favourite for pole after he topped all 3 practice sessions. This left the door open for Perez to step in and swoop for the podium position, and the Mexican driver never looked back, qualifying in pole position and finishing the race at the front of the pack, continuing his fine run of dominating street circuits. The message from Horner was of absolute praise for his driver and team, with the Red Bull team principal having this to say: "What a race, all credit to the team today." Horner began his retrospective. "They've built an incredible car. That, coupled with some truly fantastic driving, has made for the best start to a season in our history. Consecutive 1-2 finishes. Max had a mountain to climb, overcoming a significant deficit, but with over half the race to go, was already in P4. Similarly, Checo turned in an equally outstanding performance, perhaps the best drive I have ever seen from him. They were both going flat out hard at it. Both drivers were free to race and they went for it." High praise indeed from your boss, and of course Horner is happy as his team is not only dominating in the driver's standing, but have almost double the amount of points in the constructors' table as well. The Brit can only really be happy, and with significant upgrades coming to the car, it really could just be a walk in the park for Red Bull. However, as happy as Horner was, there were parts of the team that were clearly unhappy with the result on the weekend. Mainly the Verstappen camp, with both Max and Jos looking rather glum after the race. Jos in particular had an awkward moment on camera. Jos was clearly not impressed with Checo celebrating next to him. We get it, the Verstappens are super competitive and want to win everything, but a small sense of being happy for someone else wouldn't go amiss. But that's not for us to decide. Along with his dad, Max was clearly also unhappy, with the Dutchman having this to say in the post-race FIA conference: "But personally, I am not happy. I am not here to be second, especially when you are working very hard at the factory to arrive here in a good state and make sure everything is spot on. And you have to do a recovery race, which I don't mind doing it. But when you are fighting it out for a championship, and it looks like it is only 2 cars, we have to make sure the 2 cars are reliable." We had hoped to see a more mature Max this season after winning 2 championships. It may have been expected that he could be more relaxed, but the will to win burns far too hot in Max to accept 2nd place, which I guess is what makes him so scary. One former driver who was not impressed with Max Verstappen was Nico Rosberg. Speaking to Sky Sports F1, Rosberg targeted Verstappen's attitude and said, "It is not good to see that, really." Also on Saturday, he left the track very quickly and skipped the team meeting apparently. That is what we've been told. That is not a good approach, not a good mentality this early in the season when the team has done such a brilliant job with the car and is working so hard. He could be a little bit more gracious, I would say. We aren't sure if Rosberg is best to comment on situations like this, but when you become a pundit, you really get to say what you want. However, it was not all bad for Max, as he still leads the World Championship, albeit by a point above his teammate. And this is where there looks to be more drama in the Red Bull camp. With the race coming to an uneventful end and Perez and Max cruising to victory, you would think that the orders for both teammates would have been the same. Well, not quite, and Checo is not happy about it. It does appear that there was some confusion with Sergio and possibly some favoritism towards Max. The duo were told to manage their pace, both receiving the message to run in the 1 minute 33 seconds. Verstappen, though, continued to lap in the 1 minute 32 seconds and didn't reply to Red Bull's message, immediately cutting into Perez's lead. But falling to 4.2 seconds, Perez was told to up his pace by 1 minute 32 seconds. He asked Red Bull if they were pushing for nothing, given the team's various reliability concerns, adding that they don't need this. only to be told they were then still free to push. This was really interesting, as it does look like Red Bull changed their stance after Max didn't listen to them and possibly could have had issues. Max further highlighted this in his message to the team about the fastest lap. 5 laps remaining and any hope of victory gone, Verstappen asked his race engineer, "What's the fastest lap?" "We are not concerned with that at the moment, Max," Verstappen's race engineer abruptly replied. "I am," responded Verstappen. This is all good, and Max did get the fastest lap and denied his teammate the chance to lead the driver championship for the first time in his career. But what would have happened if the car had failed and Red Bull had been denied a podium? The further issue here is that it does look like the Red Bull team favored Max and not Checo, as both were told to maintain pace, but Max had different ideas. "We were first of all free to race," said the reigning world champion. "And of course we had a target lap time to the end, but you know there's a point on the line." That's fine, but it does look like there were various messages going on, with Checo being told to maintain a 1 minute 33 seconds and asking if Max was doing the same, and clearly he wasn't. Team boss Christian Horner weighed in. Inevitably, as Max said on the radio, the point for the fastest lap meant a great deal to him, and there was no reason for us not to let either he or Checo have a crack at it. It's all a bit confusing, as it does look like the team orders suddenly changed once Max said the point was important to him and that the team should be racing it out. And Checo clearly agrees, as the driver had this to say at the end of the race. 2 laps from the end, they told me to keep a certain pace. They told me I had the fastest lap and to keep the pace, a certain pace, he said in the post-race press conference. I thought the communication was the same to Max, so it's something we need to review, because I certainly got different information. Max clearly feels there was a very different team order, with the reigning world champion having this to say. "With a few laps to go, I asked what the fastest lap was," said Verstappen. "We were first of all free to race, and of course we had a target lap time to the end. It's a point on the line, and it was also the same in Bahrain. It got asked. So especially when it's just between the 2 cars, I think it's quite normal you ask for what the fastest lap is." The whole situation led to a very awkward conversation in the cool-down room between Max and Sergio, with the two clearly on different pages. "Did you get the fastest lap in the end?" Perez asked Verstappen in the cool-down room. "On the last lap, yeah," replied Verstappen whilst nodding. "Sounds to us like someone needs to clear this all up. Let's get Helmut Marko involved. He is always fair and doesn't favor anyone." The internal communication was that both asked who had the fastest lap. Said Red Bull's Dr. Helmut Marko. "We passed it on and gave no order not to do it. Max waited until the end, so while he didn't trick Checo, it was tactically very well done. Perez just couldn't react. We couldn't control that," Marko told ORF. "That's just Max. For him, it was for the lead in the World Championship." Clearly, Marko believes Max was in the right, but would we have expected any less? The debate will run on as to if it was correct what Max did, but one thing we will add is that Sergio will need to be more ruthless, as he knows Max wants to win everything and won't give up anything easily. Sergio needs to stop playing nice and wake up. Yes, this move from Max looks selfish, but at the end of the day, it was for the lead in the Drivers' Championship, and Max will not give that up for anything. What do you think? Are there new cracks at Red Bull, or is it a one-off?